So you know, you've been trained for this and now you've arrived. But when you get out into the world at your first sales meeting, they've got the same thing going again, because they want you to make that quota. And if you do make it, they give you a higher quota. And come along about 45 years of age, maybe you're vice president. And suddenly it dawns on you that you've arrived. With a certain sense of having been cheated, because it is just the same as life feels the same as it always felt. And you are conditioned to be in desperate need of a future. So the final goal that this culture prepares for us is called retirement. When you will be a senior citizen, and you will have the wealth and the leisure to do what you've always wanted, but you will at the same time have impotence, a rotten prostate, and false teeth, and no energy.
This is the Google autonomous car. You know, the futuristic car that drives itself without a human driver? Yeah. By the way, it's as cool as it sounds. I was inside. This is me at NASA a few months ago. And it's a pretty neat piece of technology. They have all sorts of sensors and lasers and GPS and machine learning algorithms. It drives itself. It's safer, better than any human driver. Doesn't get tired, follow every street rule, never crashes, never breaks any rule whatsoever. Basically, it just works, and it's better than humans. Problem is, 3.6 million people in the United States alone work driving. I mean, they drive for a living. That's 2.6% of the population. Austria and Europe, they have very similar numbers. I think these people might be affected by this kind of technology, don't you? So accounting, retail, manufacturing, translations, no one is safe. Journalism, as the Wall Street Journal puts it, software is eating the world. So, what do we do? Should we despair? How about putting taxes on technology? Or impose more regulation? Or maybe do some education reforms? Basically find any clever ways to get everyone a damn job. That's what these guys are proposing. That's what their presidential campaign is all about. And it sounds reasonable enough. After all, famously said by Voltaire, is the sentence, work saves us from three great evils: boredom, vice, and need. He said that in 1759. But is that really the case? Today, in this society, I think we might be missing a big opportunity. It was Confucius who said, that if you choose a job you love, you never have to work a day in your life. Brilliant. I agree. Problem, getting a job you love, one that is fulfilling and that allows you to follow your moral code today, I don't know about you, but it's pretty damn hard. In fact, according to the Luat Shift Index, as much as 80% of the people hate their job. To have robots steal your job. All right, let's be serious. I suppose I don't know my purpose, let alone your purpose or that of anyone else, but I'm pretty sure what the purpose of life is not. And the purpose of life cannot be to work, produce, and consume more and more and more. So here is a radical idea. The goal of the future is full unemployment so we can play. That's why we have to destroy the present politico-economic system. This is no light statement, considering it comes from legendary author and futurist Arthur C. Clarke. You see, I think we must do away with the absolutely specious notion that everybody has to earn a living. It is a fact today that 1 in 10,000 can create the technological breakthrough capable of supporting all the rest. And so the youth of today are absolutely right in recognizing this nonsense of earning a living. Of two possible futures. To the left, we've got exponential technologies and limited resources. I think that's a fair assumption to make. We add the need for growth and labor for income. That's the basis of every society today. To me, in a few years, that equals to mass unemployment, runaway climate change, resource depletion, starvation, worldwide violence, and civil unrests. Not too nice. To the right, we still have exponential technologies and limited resources. We can't really change that unless we obliterate the human race or break the laws of physics. But what we can change is our attitude, our goals, and our purpose. Open source, DIY innovators, self-sustaining communities. I think this will redefine the idea of work. By letting go of the idea of infinite growth and labor for income, we can use our ingenuity. Instead of finding clever ways to get everyone a new job, maybe useless, we can use the same ingenuity to work less, have more free time, have more fulfilling lives, restore global resource balance, and generally have a more resilient system. So, you, sir, are a techno-utopian. You believe technology solves everything. That's what everyone tells me. To the contrary, I believe technology is merely a facilitator of your intention. Look back to the picture. If you subscribe to the idea that we have infinite needs that require an infinite amount of work and infinite growth to be satisfied, which, by the way, is impossible, exponential technology will help you get there exponentially faster to these awful results. Okay, but we've been living like this for thousands of years. Are we supposed to just give that up? Isn't that against human nature? Well, we had slavery for thousands of years. We gave that up.
So, if we have a hypothetical economy with 1,000 people, and 50% of them were displaced by technological employment, the day is then divided between them, so everyone now works 4 hours instead of 8. Again, the fact that goods and services are becoming free in the economy means that there is less need for prior levels of purchasing power. So a 50% cut in wages is directly compensated for.
is linked. Water, air, soil, trees. The world's magic is right in front of our eyes. Trees breathe groundwater into the atmosphere as light mist. They form a canopy that alleviates the impact of heavy rains. The forests provide the humidity that is necessary for life. They store carbon, containing more than all the Earth's atmosphere. They are the cornerstone of the climactic balance on which we all depend. The trees of the primary forests provide a habitat for 3/4 of the planet's biodiversity. That's to say, of all life on Earth. These forests provide the remedies that cure us. The substances secreted by these plants can be recognized by our bodies. Our cells talk the same language. We are of the same family.
While the debris primarily collects at these 5 rotating currents, called the gyres, where it doesn't only directly kill sea life, but due to the absorption of PCBs and DDTs, also poisons the food chain. A food chain that includes us, humans. To our advantage, okay? The oceanic currents moving around is not an obstacle. It's a solution. Why move through the oceans if the oceans can move through you? By fixing the ships to the seabed and letting the rotating currents do their work, vast amounts of funds, manpower, and emissions will be saved. The platforms will, of course, be completely self-supportive, receiving their energy from the sun, currents, and waves. And inspired by my diving at the Azores, it now actually seems that the best shape for these platforms is that of a manta ray. By letting its wings sway like a real manta, we can ensure contact of the inlet with the surface, even in the roughest weather. Well, imagine a zigzagged array of just 24 of these platforms cleaning an entire ocean. Let's make a comparison, okay? These are the beaches of Hong Kong earlier this year, the largest plastic spill in history, and this is their source, just 6 containers. How much could we get out? Over 55 of these containers per day. Not only is plastic directly responsible for over $1 billion in vessel damages a year, no, the awesome surprise for me was that if we'd sell the plastics retrieved from the 5 gyres, we'd make over $500 million. And this is in fact more than the plan would cost to execute. In other words, it's profitable. But I believe that the key thing is that only if we realize change is more important than money, money will come. And yes, it will be one of the largest environmental rescue operations yet. But we created this mess. Heck, we even invented this new material first before we made this mess. So please, don't tell me we can't clean this up together. Thank you very much.
Open Source Ecology is a network of farmers, engineers, and supporters that for the last 2 years have been building the Global Village Construction Set, a set of the 40 different machines that it takes to create a small civilization with modern-day comforts. The Global Village Construction Set is like a life-size Lego set in which motors, parts, and power units can interchange. Thus far, we have prototyped 8 of the 40 machines and have published all of the 3D designs, schematics, instructional videos, and budgets on our wiki. The cost of making or buying our machines are, on average, 8 times cheaper than buying from an industrial manufacturer. The compressed earth brick press is our first product release and is the world's first high-performance open-source model. This machine allows one operator to load raw dirt right from the building site. The MicroTrack walk-behind tractor is a perfect solution for small-scale agricultural uses or where land features require a more flexible tool than a full-size tractor. The front mount allows attachments for tilling, mowing, and chipping. The LifeTrack multi-purpose tractor is the backbone of the Global Village Construction Set. The LifeTrack combines the power of a skid loader with the functionality of an agricultural or construction tractor. This year, we also completed prototypes for our drill press, self-replicating torch table, string trimmer, and soil pulverizer. As you can see, we've got a lot more to do.
Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer who lost a horse, ran away. And all the neighbors came round that evening and said, "That's too bad." And he said, "Maybe." The next day, the horse came back and brought 7 wild horses with it. And all the neighbors came around and said, "Why, that's great, isn't it?" And he said, "Maybe." The next day, his son was attempting to tame one of these horses and was riding it and was thrown and broke his leg. And all the neighbors came round in the evening and said, "Well, that's too bad, isn't it?" And the farmer said, "Maybe." And the next day, the conscription officers came around looking for people for the army, and they rejected his son because he had a broken leg. And all the neighbors came round at the evening and said, "Isn't that wonderful?" And he said, "Maybe." The whole process of nature is an integrated process of immense complexity, and it is really impossible to tell whether anything that happens in it is good or bad, because you never know what will be the consequences of a misfortune, or you never know what will be the consequences of good fortune.
And power is always in the people's hands, authority. They need to come of one mind, and they need to challenge the values that are being shoved at them today, because this has become a consumer society. It's driven by economics. It's not driven by common sense. You know, it's not good sense to follow somebody just because. Why? You can't give me an answer why you follow him, but if he were going to do something like jumping off a cliff, would you follow him? Would you do that? Use your sense. Use your common sense. Everybody should be their own leader. In other words, do your thinking for yourself.